gives me great pleasure to introduce my friend, a fellow Kaffaradian and a fellow Rotarian, Suresh Gattiani. Suresh is an electronic engineer who started his business career at a very young age while studying. His well-to-do business family were displaced in 1948 when India was partitioned. He bought and sold and taught the use of slide rules to support his high school education. In 1965, he went on to the design of telephone components for defense. From 67 to 83, his factory manufactured and supplied those to the government for 15 years. Suresh, along with his two partners, started import substitution for ship equipment. By 1973, they were constructing so many ancillaries and equipments for ships that they decided to construct the entire ship. This was the work of Bharti Shipyard Limited, where Suresh is one of the founder directors. In 2002, they developed a fourth generation project management system powered by a money to time engine algorithms for which were created by Mr. Dave Villani. This development was implemented at RDG USA in the United States and evolved into performance management and then into an attrition management system. On 15 June this year, the United States awarded Suresh and Dave a patent at RDG USA, where these processes and systems have been installed from the year 2003. It has enabled this company to become one of the largest and most successful in the service industry. A staff of 130 persons managed 400 projects simultaneously, with each project being completed on time and on budget. Against an industry attrition of 27%, Suresh's invention has brought down the attrition to just 0.5%. Attrition is the cancer of the services and enterprise today, and just like the cancer of the health industry, has many treatments but no cure. Suresh will discuss today on a complete approach to the treatment of attrition and its containment. Friends, Suresh is a member of Rotary Club of Bombay, a vice president of Cuff Parade Presidents Association, a keen bridge player, and an avid piano player, outstanding photographer, and above all, a fabulous and most stylish speaker. Friends, I present to you Suresh Gattiani.
Thank you for those gracious words, Madari. President Padmakar, my friends of the dais, my colleague and fellow Rotarians, and I thank you all for being present. Due acknowledgement to my current president of my Rotary Club of Bombay, my immediate past president, and my future president. So we are sandwiched between presidents, and my brother.
Apart from your brother, the president.
And my brother, the president. So as you can see, this hotel should be renamed as the president. Whenever you have a dignitary, Indian origin, outstanding and established in reputation, and he visits our country, it's a great feel-good factor. And the story, the point that I'm trying to make is of one such outstanding Indian, Nitin Nuria. Now, I can see from the looks of our faces that quite a few of us have heard of him. But there's nobody here who has not heard of Harvard Business School. And Nitin Nuria's claim to fame is his being the dean of Harvard Business School. So when an illuminary like Nitin Nuria comes down to India with his outstanding reputation, fame and achievement, it's a great feel-good factor. But this feel-good factor is the opportunity that the media is waiting for to share the comfort zone with not only Indians all over our country, but with Indians globally. And so with the result, the media took up almost every spare moment of his time, asking him to share his experiences, personal likes, dislikes, achievements and more to earn this dignified status of being the Dean of Harvard Business School. He has written many books, and one of the books that he has written is The Future of Leadership. And obviously, when Times of India, ET Now, hosted a show with Nitin Nuria being the chief guest, The show was the future of leadership. But the panelists on the show were almost as exalted as Nitin Nuria himself. Chandrasekharan, CEO of TCS. Lakshmi Narayanan, Vice Chairman of Cognizant. Chanda Kochar, MD of ICICI. So you can see the electricity that was manifest in the show. And the show, for those of us who witnessed the show, I did. And those of us who witnessed the show, you hung on to almost every word that was said by any of these four people. It was even anchored by Shaili Chopra, glamorous but a delightful anchor who has anchored most of the dominant personalities who visit our country. She turned to Nitin Nuria and said, "You've got some great panelists in front of you. What is the single most important question that you would like to ask them?" Nitin Nuria turned around to the panelists and the question that he asked them was, "When are you giving me a Google? When are you giving me a Facebook? Can I expect an iPad from this country?" The first response that came to this question, if focused straight at him, was from Chandrasekharan, CEO of TCS. And the first thing that Chandrasekharan said, India has today a great reputation for providing with solutions. But we need to identify a global problem which is unresolved. It cannot be a specific problem from the United States which comes down to me and we offer a solution. We do that all the time for a profession. Not only TCS but even Wipro or Infosys offer solutions. They've got 50 services which cater to business and offer solutions to the health industry, generic industry at large. An unidentified problem needs to be identified for India to consider. India is good at providing solutions. If you can help me to identify such a problem, most likely the solution will come from India. Chandrasekharan also said, I don't know who will provide the solution, I don't know when the solution will be provided, but in all probability, it will come from India. Even the other panelists basically agreed, and they talked about cloud computing and they talked about other technologies, but the solution would come provided the problem was identified. So the next question is, how can there be a problem and yet it doesn't have an identity? Let me give you an illustration. Let's talk about the health industry. You've got chronic problems like cancer, you've got chronic problems like diabetes. These are problems which are chronic. It's only when it becomes acute. I have chronic appendicitis, when it becomes acute, I need to get it surgically treated. Problems are chronic, cancer is chronic. How do you identify a problem which is prevalent and for which there is no solution? Let me give you an example. What if this morning there is a newspaper report which says, now there is a cure, remember not a treatment, now there is a cure for pancreatic cancer. What do you think will be the reaction for those poor people who suffer from this disease? There is hope that there is a cure for pancreatic cancer. But let me take you one step further. What if there is an announcement in the paper in the morning that there is now a patented molecule which protects the immune system from disease, decay and more? Don't you see this approach is entirely holistic as compared to a specific cure for pancreatic cancer? Because all forms of cancer are nothing but a manifestation of the immune system getting diseased. And so for once, you will have a holistic approach to the treatment of cancer if you can have a patent or a cure to the immune system. If this example registers with us, and there is an example of chronic cancer existing but there is no solution to that. The whole world is working for a solution, but the solution presently does not exist. If this illustration makes sense, let's take the example down to the enterprise industry. Let's talk about the business industry. At least in my club, most of us are business people. I'm sure they are here too as well when I was reading your roster. if this is the problem with the health industry, does business industry have a problem which is equal in this magnitude? And the answer is yes. And that is the topic for today. The topic for today is the cancer of the business and the enterprise industry, which happens to be attrition. So the next question that directly comes to your mind is, what is attrition? How do you explain attrition? How do you define attrition? You told me earlier that attrition affects the legal industry. My brother is a lawyer too. But what is attrition? October 10th, Chandrasekharan, whom I spoke about you just a few minutes back, he announced his Q2 results, and the results were spectacular. Udayan Mukherjee from CNBC was interviewing him, and they asked, the question that pointed out was by Chandrasekharan himself. He says, my greatest anxiety today is attrition. TCS employs 173,000 people. It's a lot of people. And 24,000 people leave them year after year after year. Now that's a very large number. 24,000 people leaving you year after year after year just in one company. And please note that the attrition in Tata Consultancy is the lowest at just 14%. If you talk about their brethren and their fellow companies, any facts at the moment, but let me take a big name like General Electric, and a couple of thousand people are employed in General Electric from Tata Consultancy. They have 14% attrition. The 280 people suddenly leave their site, their work, their projects on General Electric. First thing is, please imagine what happens. General Electric wakes up and says, over this last few years, we have developed an interaction with the people that you gave us. If they leave now, what do you think will happen to our project? So the first is a complete shake of confidence with the client. Client confidence has a total shake. That's number one. Number two, what does happen to those colleagues in the project? There's a feeling of insecurity generated by those people. You have left the project, you're a project leader or an important person in the project. What happens to the project? So number two, there's a feeling of insecurity with those who are still in the project. Number three, the project gets completely dismembered and dismantled and goes into disarray. Number four, there is rehiring those kind of people that left you, which is a very expensive process. Number five, there is retraining the people whom you have hired. Number six, fitting them back into the project to enable them to maintain continuity. If this is not cancer, then believe me, everything else is acceptable. This is the cancer of the